Scott, are you? Well, as the government shutdown now reaches day 30 on this Thursday, October 30th, we are just 2 days away from SNAP benefits from running out of money for millions of people across the U.S., at least 41 million people. The federal pause in food assistance could have a major impact, again, on at least 41 million people across the country. But Maryland Governor Wes Moore is hoping to change that for Marylanders. Thanks for joining us. I'm Annie Yu. Governor Wes Moore is expected to hold a press conference at any moment to address SNAP benefits that will soon be expiring for Marylanders. So we'll be sure to go back live once Governor Moore arrives. But we do have a shot of the podium, I believe. Oh, we do not at this moment. Meanwhile, there are new signs of progress toward ending the government shutdown. And for the first time in 30 days, some senators say that they are cautiously optimistic about resolving the standstill on Capitol Hill. Our Jacqueline Quinn joining us with why some lawmakers say that there could be light at the end of the tunnel.
Now, this is the 14th vote to end the shutdown, but we know that Senate leaders say that talks have been picking up. That's why there's this cautious optimism. And that's important because we have a couple of critical deadlines that are approaching, including this weekend for SNAP and then military pay, as well as federal medical enrollment for federal workers. Now, it's been 30 days since this started, and even cautious optimism for a deal could be a silver lining to tens of thousands of furloughed federal workers in the DMV. It's estimated 750,000 people across the country have missed paychecks. And there's growing food insecurity concern for government workers and families as the deadlines loom for military pay and an upcoming freeze on SNAP food assistance this weekend, which helps 42 million Americans buy food.
Republicans are on a crusade to kill SNAP. They tried to do it in their big, beautiful bill. They don't like funding hungry children.
SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. You voted no 13 times.
Nearby food banks in our area are already seeing demand spike as families brace for these cuts.
On Friday alone, just a couple days ago, we received 4,000 website visits to our Find Food page. We have never seen those numbers before.
Now, local leaders are stepping up their contingency plans for the shutdown to continue. Governor Wes Moore is making an announcement on SNAP relief in Maryland today. In Virginia, they're allocating funds to cover the shortfall through November. And outside of USDA headquarters today, furloughed federal workers are going to be collecting food to help those who are struggling. They're also calling on leaders in this administration to release emergency SNAP funding. On Capitol Hill, I'm Jacqueline Quinn, WUSA 9.
Jacqueline, thanks. Meanwhile, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin says his administration has created a new food assistance program to help those losing SNAP benefits. He announced it earlier this week. It is called the Virginia Emergency Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as VENA. And Governor Youngkin says that recipients will receive the same benefits as before, but with one key change. Payments will now go out weekly instead of monthly.
We will be doing it every week for as long as we can. Every week means that we will be moving funds from the state surplus to fund these parallel benefits every week. It totals $37.5 million roughly every week.
$37.5 million being poured into this a week. It's a lot of money, but it is worth pointing out that Virginia just ended the 2025 fiscal year with billions of dollars in surplus and rainy day funds. So it has plenty of cash to fund this new program, again called VENA. If the shutdown continues past November 1st, VENA will kick in right away on November 3rd. The morning team spoke with the head of No Kid Hungry Virginia on WUSA 9 Mornings this week about how VENA will work. Take a look here.
Let's start with the basics. What exactly is Virginia doing to make sure that these families still get their SNAP benefits this month?
Yes, good morning to you. Virginia officials announced yesterday that the state will be allocating $145 million of state funds to essentially replace or mimic the SNAP benefits that are federally funded that Virginians otherwise wouldn't have had access to in the month of November.
I wanted to talk about, you mentioned the $145 million. This is obviously, a huge investment for the state. How long can Virginia realistically keep this up if the shutdown continues?
Yes, we heard yesterday that Virginia plans to use these state funds throughout the month of November, but this is a short-term solution and one that is using considerable Virginia resources and time. This is also important to note that this is a one-state solution, and we are facing this hunger crisis nationwide. So it is really important that USDA release those contingency funds that they have available to fund SNAP in emergencies like this, so that there is no interruption in benefits for the 42 million Americans who rely on this program.
So I heard you use the word short term here. You mentioned what the USDA could do to try to fix this with these contingency funds. Is that something that can be done right away? Is that realistic to expect them to do this?
My understanding is that USDA has both the funds and the authority to address this issue today if they wanted to. And that is really what we are hoping to see, that all SNAP recipients nationwide will have their benefits in November. We really believe at No Kid Hungry Virginia that children should not experience hunger just based on their zip code or where they live.
There's a lot of families that are watching this who are nervous. There's a lot of anxiety going on right now. And so for families, watching who really rely on SNAP, can you give us some tips? What can they do to make their benefits stretch in the meantime? Is there any comfort or advice you could offer?
Absolutely. So if you have benefits left over from October, you can continue to use those in November. For households with children, I would remind families to think about school meals as a low or no cost way to stretch their budgets and connect their kids with the nutrition that they need. And then certainly think about shopping sales and buying non-perishables that you can stretch a little further during this time. And I just want to say I'm sorry to anyone who's experiencing that fear or concern right now. This is a tough state of mind that no one should be experiencing.
So we know what you guys are doing and the plan that you have here, but for the people who are out there who do have the means to help and want to help, maybe they want to donate, and maybe they want to support in some other way those people who are in need, what should they do and how should they do it?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. I would encourage folks to donate cash to their local food banks if they can. Food banks have the economies of scale to stretch dollars really far. So if you can donate money to your local food bank, your local pantry, please do that. But certainly donations of food are very much welcome as well.
All right. Sarah Steele, the state director of No Kid Hungry Virginia, thank you for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We told you earlier this week that Maryland, D.C. and a coalition of Democratic-run states sued the Trump administration on Tuesday, and they are trying to prevent billions of dollars in cuts to federal food assistance. They are set to kick in this weekend. Democratic attorneys general and governors from 25 states and D.C. are behind this suit. They claim the Trump administration is threatening illegal cuts to SNAP. The White House says the Department of Agriculture does not have the power to use its contingency fund to cover the SNAP program beyond Saturday because of the government shutdown. Montgomery County is taking action to help those impacted by the shutdown. Melissa Kim is breaking down the new support package that just got approved.
I spoke to representatives from the groups Up County Hub and MANA, both of whom say they've seen an increase in the number of people who need help getting food on their tables. So this $7.75 million from Montgomery County Council will be essential in helping those people.
The people that are currently being furloughed and laid off, those are the people that actually usually donate to my organization. So it's a lot of embarrassment that they are now coming to me as a client.
Marco Rivera-Oven is the director of operations at Up County Hub in Germantown, a nonprofit that helps Montgomery County families who are food insecure. He says support from the county is a lifeline.
Having the support of the county government like this with the supplemental kind of make sure that they have our back to make sure that we have the back of the residents.
Montgomery County Council announcing it will allocate $7.75 million to needs during the government shutdown. The money will be distributed to programs for food assistance, as well as other nonprofit organizations and needs.
This gives us a bit of a reprieve in terms of trying to get back to a sense of normalcy.
Craig Rice is the CEO of MANA Food Center in Gaithersburg. He says his nonprofit has seen people spanning all professions and socioeconomic groups who now need help.
Uniformed service members from Fort Meade who are confused about they received a flyer from their commanding officer identifying different food pantries that they could go to ask for support. It's truly heartbreaking, I will tell you, to see so many people in a community that's as rich in terms of affluence and all the things that we know make Montgomery County a great place.
But both organizations say nonprofits in Montgomery County are working together to make sure everyone gets through this shutdown.
Until this situation gets resolved, we will make sure the doors are always open for anyone that needs the assistance.
Now, the $7.75 million from Montgomery County Council is being paid for by reserve funds, and they hope to have them in place before the holidays. And now, if you are one of those people in Montgomery County who does need help, the nonprofit groups say don't hesitate to reach out to them. We'll put a link on our website at WSA9.com. In Montgomery County, I'm Melissa Kim at WUSA 9.
Officials with the Maryland Food Bank say that they are going to do everything they can to meet the expected surge in need if SNAP benefits expire, but the amount of families who would need help is unprecedented.
The loss of SNAP benefits has never happened before. During previous government shutdowns, SNAP was there. During the pandemic, SNAP benefits were increased. We've never been in a situation where SNAP benefits have been taken off the table. And so, of course, we are very concerned. We're going to do everything we can at the Maryland Food Bank to meet the expected surge in need.
Now, another impact of the shutdown is the Montgomery County Animal Services Center. They are nearing capacity. More families who are missing paychecks and facing financial hardship are surrendering their pets. You can help by adopting, fostering, or even donating supplies to the shelter. Well, tens of millions. Gazis has more details from the White House.
Okay, thank you.
Democrats on Capitol Hill are sounding the alarm about SNAP food assistance benefits not going out on Saturday.
If ever you met the definition of disaster, it is hungry kids and seniors and disabled folks having nowhere to turn for basic nutrition.
Congress previously approved more than $5 billion for a contingency fund to keep the SNAP program going. But the Trump administration says it will not tap into that reserve. More than 24 states are now suing to force the administration to fund the program.
They are doing this on purpose. It is deliberate. It is intentional. They have the funds. They're just not using them.
President Trump was asked about SNAP benefits during his trip to Asia, and he said that they would, in his words, get it done, but not until the government is reopened.
All they have to do is say, let's get back to business, and we're back. There's nothing to sign, there's nothing to negotiate.
Some Republican senators argue more than 40 million Americans missing those benefits will force Democrats to give in the ongoing shutdown stalemate.
But people begin to lose their benefits. You got a problem with military pay, SNAP benefits. A lot of things happen bad this weekend. I'm hoping next week, hopefully after the election, that we can get the government back open.
But others aren't as hopeful.
Normally, when you're about to achieve a breakthrough, you're going to have more formal negotiations, probably with 3 to 5 members on either side, and then it grows from there. I don't see any evidence of that now.
The Congressional Budget Office now estimates the shutdown may have already cost the economy up to $7 billion. Olivia Gazis, CBS News, the White House.
Today, dozens of federal workers lined up to get a free lunch from World Central Kitchen. This was right in front of the National Archives, and we spoke with a furloughed worker who has 2 kids, and he told us that things are really starting to add up.
It's just really tough right now paying for our groceries, our food, or like housing expenses, figure out how we're going to pay our mortgage or any daycare expenses for this month.
The Capital Area Food Bank is also helping federal workers. They're holding 2 different food distributions on Friday. One is at United Community on Fortson Road. That's in Alexandria. The other is at Urban Outreach on C Street in Southeast DC. Both start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and make sure that you bring your government ID with you. Very important. All right, we are standing by right now for Governor Wes Moore to address us with an update regarding the SNAP benefits to Marylanders. At least 680,000 Marylanders could lose their food benefits from the federal SNAP benefits this weekend when it expires on November 1st, which is Saturday. Here is a live picture of the press conference. Okay, it looks like we lost it, but that is why we are standing by right now at this moment. Okay, it looks like we got the live shot back here, giving you a look at where the governor once again will be addressing us, providing an update on the federal SNAP benefits once it expires this weekend. Millions of people, at least 40 million people in the U.S. are set to lose federal SNAP benefits this week, November 1st. Maryland is stepping in to possibly come up with a way to help Marylanders so that they do not lose these SNAP benefits and they can continue to buy groceries. But again, we are awaiting for the governor to approach and start this press conference.
Excuse us. Excuse us. Excuse me, ma'am.
Sorry. Mic check. Mic check. Yeah, 1, 2.
Got your knee pads? What a nice guy. We want those back.
Well, welcome everybody to Anne Arundel County and to the Anne Arundel County Food Bank at the Crownsville Hospital Memorial Park. This food bank is an extraordinarily efficient, independent nonprofit organization that relies on the financial support of the good people of Anne Arundel County and its county government to feed our residents when they are in tough financial times. Our food bank and the whole food distribution system that we created during COVID is bravely stepping up in response to a federal government that is trying to break us. Our Office of Emergency Management in Anne Arundel County is leading our interagency Federal Disaster Preparedness and Recovery Work Group, and this is an all-government response, just as we had during the pandemic. The need for more food assistance started with deportations and illegal firings of federal workers. Then it moved into Trump's government shutdown, with thousands of federal workforce having no paychecks. And now, Trump is escalating his war on the hardworking men and women of Anne Arundel County in Maryland who live paycheck to paycheck or Social Security check to Social Security check by refusing to release the contingency funds that Congress appropriated specifically to fund SNAP during a crisis like this. In Anne Arundel County, that prevents 41,847 recipients of SNAP, including 22,430 households, 17,031 children, and 5,231 seniors from buying their groceries. In Maryland, that's over 680,000 recipients, including nearly 270,000 children. Throughout our history, we have seen rulers use hunger as a weapon. Whether it's against an enemy or their own people, the goal is to starve into submission, and it's cruel. That's why blocking food assistance is a war crime under international law. And today in America, we are facing a serious threat. It's at times like this that we in Anne Arundel County appreciate the fact that we have a governor who is both a soldier and a poverty fighter. There is no question about whose side he is on in these battles to protect our people, whether it is support for the Western Maryland flood victims who were denied their FEMA support, the federal workers and contractors whose lives have been upended by the Republican assault on public service. Wes Moore and his extraordinary staff have stood firmly with the people. I'm not surprised to find him here on the grounds, the sacred grounds of Crownsville Hospital Memorial Park at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank, sorting food for distribution and presenting concrete plans to defend our people in their time of need. Welcome, Governor Moore. We are so glad that you are here.
Good morning. I first just want to give a deep degree of thanks to our county executive for his leadership, for his thoughtfulness, and for his consistent belief that everybody deserves a right to have an opportunity to a better life. We're deeply grateful, and we're thankful to be here in your county. I'm thankful that I live in a state that our people are so resilient. But I'm absolutely heartbroken that the people of our state are being forced to be so resilient. I'm thankful that we are here with some amazing public servants. And I'm angry that we're asking our public servants to do so much because our federal government has decided to leave us behind. What we are seeing from this federal administration is not just cruel, it's illegal. They are breaking the law to show how cruel they can be. That I'm thinking about the work that they are doing and how cruelty has essentially become a governance philosophy of the Trump administration. Because the money is there. They are choosing not to allocate it. The money has been appropriated. They are choosing not to distribute it. This is heartless. This is cruel. And this is unforgivable. And I think about the why we are here, but also the basic necessities that we have to then turn around and provide, because when the federal government says that you are on your own, in the state of Maryland, we say we leave no one behind. And so, today, we are responding to the federal government's dereliction of its duty by declaring a state of emergency inside the state of Maryland. And I will use all powers vested upon me as the governor of the state of Maryland and immediately use my emergency authority as governor to surge $10 million to food banks and to food bank partners all across the state of Maryland. These funds will go to hundreds of institutions with experience distributing food at the regional level, and we are also providing support to local nonprofits, faith-based organizations, food kitchens, farmers markets, school pantries, and also mobile food units. We need to move quickly to make sure we're getting the most support to those most in need. And state agencies are going to work together with local leadership, county leadership, nonprofit partners to ensure that resources are distributed fairly, equitably, and with true accountability. And what's really unfortunate is that these are actions that the state of Maryland is taking because the actions that the federal government is taking are actively hurting our people. And this is not the first time that we have now had to move quickly and swiftly and decisively to be able to make sure that our people are taken care of, since the Trump administration has decided to wage this type of assault on the people of our state. It's why on October 1st, I spoke to Maryland from my office about why Donald Trump's shutdown of government was so detrimental to the state of Maryland, uniquely detrimental to the state of Maryland, because there is no state that is taking a greater level of assault than Maryland by these actions. I explained how we'd be standing up emergency resources for federal workers. I explained that we'd launch contingency plans to keep government programs running, that we announced protections to help Marylanders keep a roof over their head, keep the lights on, keep groceries in the fridge. And every week since October 1st, we have continued to roll out new supports. I hate the fact that we are here. But the reality, Maryland, is that we are here. But the people of our state will make sure that we respond. We rolled out the Maryland Premium Assistance Program to protect Marylanders from increases to their health care premiums, because a prerequisite to keeping the federal government open should not be jacking up premiums by 90%. We instituted new programs at the Department of Labor to protect federal workers who are now missing paychecks, many of whom who are working every day and not getting paid. It's ironic that we have people in Maryland who are working and not getting paid, and we have politicians in Washington who are getting paid and not working. We made MARC and the MTA transit service free for all federal workers, for all of our federal workers who are moving, especially those who now have to go to work every day and not getting paid for it. Just simply show your federal badge, your ride is free. And the reason that we've been so aggressive is because the longer this shutdown lasts, the more pain that our people are feeling. We're seeing more furloughs. We're seeing more families go without pay. We are seeing permanent economic damage. And this president is not just holding firm. He's relishing in the fact that he continues to turn the screws on the American people and watches and smiles while the American people feel the pain. Donald Trump is refusing to deploy emergency federal funding that would keep food assistance programs running during this shutdown. And by doing that, I want to be clear, he is breaking the law. Gladly. And to be clear that he is breaking the law, it's why I'm proud of the fact that Maryland was amongst the first states to sue the federal government for breaking the law and pushing more children into poverty and pushing more children to now suffer the consequences of the fact that Washington, D.C. is broken. Withholding federal food assistance is not just illegal, it is cruel. 680,000 Marylanders rely on SNAP to put food on the table. We're talking about 120,000 older adults, 270,000 children, and 130,000 Marylanders with disabilities. This is real. And the impacts that we are seeing are distinct. And so I want to take a moment to thank all the public servants. The people who, when we are watching this assault from the federal government on the state of Maryland, the people who have said it is our responsibility to step up. All the public servants, all the neighbors, all the community members, members of the Moore-Miller administration. I want to thank a few who are here today, our Secretary of Human Services, Rafael Lopez, our Secretary of Aging, Carmel Rooks, our Secretary of Agriculture, Kevin Addix, our Special Secretary for Children, Carmel Martin, our Secretary of State Susan Lee, our Secretary for Emergency Management, Secretary Strickland. Right here. I also want to thank all of our friends at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank who are doing absolutely extraordinary work to take care of our community. Leah, to you and your team, we just want to say God bless you and thank you. Thank you. I want to thank this remarkable team from Anne Arundel County who are representing the county so well in Annapolis, and that includes our friends Senators Beidel and Senator Guile, Delegates Chang, Rogers, and Schmidt. I want to thank members of the County Council, to include Vice Chair Rodvian, for all of her leadership. Where'd she go? And also, importantly, I want to continue to thank our extraordinary county executive for continuing to lead the charge inside the county, and say how proud I am to be one of your constituents, sir.
And Allison Pickard.
And Allison, oh, that's Allison. Oh, this, oh. And Allison Pickard as well. And Pete Smith as well. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I do want to be very, very clear. The decision to declare an emergency declaration is not one that I made lightly. I understand the weight of what it means to put this state under a state of emergency, particularly when the state of emergency is not a natural disaster, when it is a human-made one. It is a Washington-made one. It is a Trump administration-made one. We are barreling towards the longest federal government shutdown in the history of the United States. And no state can fill the gap that is made when Washington, D.C. looks at each and every one of us and says it's not that the relationship between the federal government and our states is altered, that it's severed. But in Maryland, that doesn't mean we give up. In Maryland, we protect our people. In Maryland, we stand on the wall. We're going to make sure our people are okay. It's not the work of a single day or a single announcement. This is an ongoing pledge that I and we are making to the people of the state of Maryland. We refuse to abandon you. We refuse to leave you behind. We will keep taking this week by week and work with our legislative partners to do everything that we can with the resources that we have. But to be clear, to ask any state to try to make up for $250 million a month because the federal government is breaking the law is something that not only no governor can try to take on, but every governor understands the damage that this administration is doing to us. And as the shutdown continues, Marylanders can continue to visit our emergency site for regular updates on all of our efforts to launch new resources on behalf of the people of this state. Since we've launched our emergency website, we've already had more than 120,000 unique visitors and expect to see those numbers increasing in the coming days. Nearly 270,000 Marylanders are federal employees. 225,000 federal contractors work in Maryland, and all of them need our support. And so I would encourage all Marylanders to go visit go.md.gov/federal shutdown. Until this shutdown ends, we share a collective responsibility to help each other. If you know a family member or a friend who relies on SNAP, if you see people in your community who are struggling, if you know that your neighbor just got furloughed, they need your help. So I'm asking all Marylanders, do what you can. Support your local food bank. Get friends together and start a fund to support families in poverty. Check on your loved ones and make sure they're okay. Because in Maryland, we take care of each other. It's who we are. We are going to weather this storm. We are going to stand with our people. We will never bend the knee. But we are going to make sure that our people stand up tall. And I say this to President Trump on behalf of the 6.5 million Marylanders, including the 680,000 who will leave SNAP, who will lose SNAP because of your decisions. On behalf of our veterans, on behalf of our farmers, on behalf of our children, on behalf of our seniors, on behalf of the bipartisan group that you see standing in front of you right now, my message to you is this: stop this shutdown now. You have the authority. All the president needs to do is simply pick up the phone and say, it's time to end this thing. And so every single day it goes on, we know where we're placing our blame. I'm not holding out hope that he will. But I truly believe, and I pray to God, in this moment he'll see the impacts of what's happening and realize that he must. In Maryland, we're going to do our job. Now it's time for the president to do his. And so now I would like to call our administration personnel to join me in the signing of this executive order. I mean, what we just did today is a historically aggressive measure to be able to support our children and to make sure that we're providing food assistance to our food banks, to those most in need, and to make sure that these cruel decisions by the federal government can be supported by the people of this state. And I do want to be clear that what the federal government is doing by not allocating money for SNAP is illegal. They are breaking the law to do this. And to now turn around and break the law and then ask the states to try to cover down on it just continues to double down on not just the foolishness, but the cruelty that we're seeing from the federal government. So I'm thankful that, that our state is going to make sure that we have now taken historic measures to ensure that our children are getting food assistance that they need, that seniors are not starving, that military veterans are getting the aid that this country promised to them, because the federal government has just decided that they want to break the law just to see how quickly the people of this country can break.
Governor Moore, if it's not raining now, then what does it look like in Maryland when it's raining and it's time to use the rainy day fund?
Well, I think that we have shown that not only are we going to make sure that we're protecting and taking care of our people, but that also we're going to ensure that there is a real measure of fiscal discipline when it comes to how Maryland is going to manage its finances. You know, the fact that we just made a historic measure to be able to ensure that our food banks are getting support, despite the fact that the federal government has now decided to break the law so people could starve, I think shows the people of this state that Maryland is going to continue looking out for its people. I think that people of the state see that in just these past weeks that we've been able to take extraordinary measures to ensure that federal workers are not going to have their utilities shut off or going to be evicted during the time of this shutdown, that we can make sure that public transit is free for all of our federal workers. So as they are navigating, many of whom are going to work without getting paid, that they're not then having to get charged for that. I think the people of our state know and understand that we are both going to make sure that we are being fiscally disciplined and protect the people of our state, particularly in this moment of need when the federal government decides to illegally bring harm to the people of Maryland.
Jenny, I saw your hand. Jenny, I saw your hand. I'll get her on.
Is the 10 million going to be sufficient? I mean, even for a week, the numbers don't seem to add up to what's being cut through SNAP. So how are you all getting out the need versus what you're allocating?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to consistently evaluate where the needs are and what our state needs to do to try to cover down on that. But we are also very clear that there is no state that has the resources or the balance sheet to make up for when the federal government decides that they are no longer going to provide something that they are legally obligated to be able to provide. So we are going to consistently monitor and make whatever decisions are necessary to ensure that our people are okay. But we are also very clear that to ask any single state to say that you are going to cover down on $250 million a month because the federal government is going to break the law is not a fair ask for any governor nor any state inside this entire country.
Kate?
You're saying that no state can afford this, but there are other states that are using state funds to pay for SNAP at least through November, including New Mexico and Virginia. And we have state lawmakers in Maryland saying this is something that the state can afford. Can you explain why your thinking differs and why you don't think Maryland can afford to dip into the rainy day fund to pay for SNAP?
Yeah, I also know that the capital that is could be used towards being able to cover down on this is also capital where there is normally an assurance that you're going to get reimbursement from the federal government. I have no belief that the federal government is going to reimburse anybody for anything. I have no belief that the federal government is going to honor its promises. The reason we're in this situation is because the federal government is breaking the law. The reason we're in this situation is because the federal government is not honoring its promises. So the idea that somehow we should take the federal government at its word, that it is going to reimburse these states, I think is just continuing to show that we are giving the Trump administration too much credit, and credit that frankly they do not deserve.
WBAL?
Governor Moore, I certainly understand that it's election season, but given the state of emergency now, I know that you're scheduled to be in Virginia this weekend. We'll play campaigning for Abigail Spanberger. Does that alter plans? Will you be staying in the state now during the state of emergency?
No, because I plan on going down there and helping to make sure that Abigail Spanberger becomes the next governor of Virginia, because we need governors that actually take this moment seriously. The reason that I'm going to support Abigail Spanberger is because who your governor is matters. And I think we are seeing that every single day, the illustration of what that looks like. And so I'm excited to have Abigail Spanberger as my partner. I believe that governors in many ways are becoming a really important line of defense around these illegal actions that we are seeing from the Trump administration. And I'm looking forward to have a partner inside the governor's mansion down in the Commonwealth of Virginia who understands that what we understand in Maryland is that we will work with anyone, but we will bow down to no one.
Last question, Mackenzie.
Governor, thank you. Pivoting to some of the other vulnerable people in the state of Maryland, I wanted to ask about DHS. And I know that yesterday you said that you take all of the findings of these various reports seriously and addressing the issues within the Department of Human Services seriously, and that you want to do it within your term. But when you took office, you knew about these problems. There were report after report after report detailing the issues within the department. So why should Marylanders trust that there will actually be meaningful change and real accountability when it's taken this long to see some policy shifts?
Well, I'm grateful for the work that Secretary Lopez and the team over at DHS has done to address a lot of these challenges that were longstanding. I mean, as you indicated, Mackenzie, many of the challenges that we were talking about are things that predated not just our inauguration, but predated even our announcement to run for governor in the first place. And so we knew the challenges that existed within DHS. It was the reason that I was excited to have someone like Secretary Lopez, who could come in and actually address the hard problems, address the hard issues, and know that even though these were not problems that started under our watch, these were problems that would be addressed under our watch. And so we know that we have more work to do, that there is not one of us that is going to be settled until we have a situation where every single child, every single family, every single Marylander is receiving the supports that they need. But we also know that in order to do that, in order to continue pushing forward the right kind of measures, the right kind of improvements, it means that we have to be committed to having accountability and transparency and improvement. It is where I am, it is where Secretary Lopez is, it is where the department is, that we are going to get it right under our time, even if these challenges happen before our time.
Advocates argue, though, that there is no accountability within this department right now, and that transparency continues to lack within the agency. How much longer is the public expected to wait to see real results?
Well, I would argue that for anybody who thinks that, that there is not transparency, they should spend time with Secretary Lopez and the team, because this is a deeply transparent team that they have on board, a team that is focused on making sure that we can both get to the right results and making sure we're bringing the population along those lines as well.
Thank you. As a reminder, we have a 1 p.m. background briefing. If you have follow-up on this announcement. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.